From the moment that our guest read the biography of Lord Alan Sugar, he just knew that he was going to go on and win The Apprentice. And that was just the beginning. Joseph Valente is the founder and CEO of the Trade MasterMind, with an incredible CV and archive of awards and milestones behind him, such as winning the 2015 Apprentice series and going on to the business partners with Lord Alan Sugar, to being awarded National Installer of the Year, winning a place in the Forbes 30 Under 30, and having the #1 best-selling book and podcast. Joseph, we are delighted to have you with us. Welcome to Talk Business With.
Thank you, David. Really appreciate it. Thanks for having me, and what a great intro.
Yeah, thank you. Most people will have first come into contact with you during your time on The Apprentice. But before we talk about that, tell us about what life was like prior to going on to the show.
How far back do you want me to go?
Well, I can imagine you was probably an entrepreneur at school, JV, right?
100%.
So take us back to then.
Okay, sweet. Okay, cool. So I suppose one of my first ventures at school was selling football stickers. So, back in the day, the Merlin books, and, you used to get your 26p packs from the local corner shop, and you'd always hope to get a shiny in the pack. And you'd also get the same crappy players from teams like Nottingham Forest or Derby or Leicester at the time. And you'd get the same recurring heads. So, you'd end up with 3, 4, 5 of them. So what I did, first and foremost, when I was like year 1, year 2, year 3, I'd always go down to the older kids' end of the playground and hustle the older kids and get them to swap me for better ones, because I've always been good at doing deals. And then I went home one day and I was like, right, because we didn't have any money growing up. And, I used to get I used to struggle to get the money together to get a packet. So I was like, right, the ones that I have got, how am I going to recycle these? So me and my sister sat on the table, got bits of square A4, stapled them together and put all of the swaps in. So I had loads of double shinies and loads of double cards. Double stickers. So we basically packaged them. I sold them for 20p. You got 3 more stickers in the shop. And if they wanted a guaranteed shiny, they got them for 40p. So I went into school the next day with I know it was about 15 packs of these things that I had. Sold a lot. I had £3.50 at the end of the day, straight down the corner shop, bought a load more and so on. So that was probably my first venture.
So if anyone knew you back then, they could have put a good bet on that you'd be on the Forbes 30 Under 30 one day, right?
I think so. And then I did the old typical thing, that many entrepreneurs do, started selling sweets, Pokemon cards, Pogs, Tazos, whatever the trend was, yo-yos. I managed to jump on it in some way, shape or form and to make some money out of it. Yeah. So school didn't actually go to plan. You ended up getting kicked out of school, right? Yeah, that's right. So, I in secondary school. So, look, my mum and dad broke up when I was 13, and I came from quite a hostile home life anyway. It wasn't a good place growing up. My dad was an alcoholic and didn't work, and it wasn't great. So, I was always disruptive anyway when he lived at home. So I'd go to school and I just didn't want to be there. And I'd always have a negative home vibe in my mind. And so when my dad left at 13, I became a teenager that was lawless. So, I didn't have any rules. My dad wasn't there anymore. And then, you kind of do that thing where you just sort of explode. And I didn't want to listen to anybody. I wouldn't take instruction from anybody. I didn't want, anybody telling me what to do in terms of authority. And then a couple of years went by, and obviously the teachers, as you get older as an adolescent, and more cheeky, more gobby, more naughty, more braver, thinking that you know it all. I got to a point where they just said, you've got to go. It's too much for us. We can't handle you. That was I think 14 or 15, and I think I was just at the end of year 9 when they kicked me out.
So when you left school, you was actually able to turn that into a positive. Tell us about what you've done next, Joseph.
Great. Yeah. So, there came a time at the end of it where at the time I was like, yes, this is brilliant. I don't have to go to school. I'm going to go and hang around with my mates down the park. And, I hung around with a lot of older children at that time, 16, 17, 18, 19 as like a 14-year-old. So I wasn't in a great crowd, and, you know, I was influenced by those guys, but I looked up to them because I didn't have a father figure. It was kind of like you seek that from, you know, older guys in your environment. And so there came a day when I remember just looking around, and I was sort of in the park with all of these older guys, and, you know, I was just like, wow, man, they're 20 and they're here, and I'm 14 or 15, and I'm just like, this isn't right. I was like, you know, I'm going to waste my life if I stay here, and I don't do anything about it. And, you know, I say to so many people, when I left at 15, you know, my mum had given up on me. She thought I was finished and gone. She didn't know what to do, how to help me, like I was unhelpable. Getting in trouble all the time. My dad was gone. You know, I didn't speak to him when he left. I never saw him again. So he was gone. And, you know, all the teachers and everything else. So I kind of looked at myself and I said, listen, Joe, you've put yourself in this situation. If you don't do something about it, you're going to end up, you know, down the wrong path. Your life is going to be a waste. And no one is coming to save you. Yeah, the cavalry isn't coming. If you want to drag yourself out of this situation, you've got to go do something about it. So I use that as motivation. One of the older guys was a 25-year-old. He was the cousin of my best friend. He had a brand new BMW. He just started his own plumbing business. He was really good looking guy. You know, he was the guy around the town type thing. So I wanted to be like him anyway, because you always used to see him driving in his car everywhere we lived and so on. So I approached him and I said, listen, you've just started your business. I'm not at school. Can I come and work with you for a year for free? And then when I'm 16, you put me into college, then start paying me. Like, I'll come every single day, and I just want to learn. So, of course, he just started his business, so he wasn't going to say no. And I went to work with him every single day. I turned up on time because I respected him. I did what I was told, never answered back, always wore the uniform, was amazing with customers. And then, you know, that kind of gave me the intro into the plumbing world. And then at 16, he took up his part of the deal. He started paying me, and then my career really just went from there.
Yeah. Well, let's fast forward a little bit, because I've heard you tell this story a couple of times before, and I just love it. I've heard you tell a story about when you overcome some early rejection when you went pitching to some estate agents in Peterborough. Tell us about that.
Love it. Okay, awesome. So I think I started my business at 22, and I did that because I was a plumber working for a plumbing and heating company. I was getting 50 grand a year at the age of 19. I got that wage. Yeah. You know, by 21, I was still getting it. But I wanted to go and start my own business, build my own company, create value in the marketplace. And I did that actually off the back of reading Lord Sugar's book. That was what allowed me to quit my job, take out a £15 loan and start a business at 22 with no experience, no knowledge or anything. This is why the Apprentice story is even more special, because of what I did, because of reading his book at the age of 22. So I decided that I wanted to go into industry, and I wanted to change the way that the construction industry was seen, the way that plumbers were looked at, the way that you pitch your products and services, rather than turning up in dirty clothes in your van, you know, trousers down your backside, typical builder type thing. I thought, I'm going to get dressed up in a suit. I'm going to go in smart and present myself in a completely different way. So out of the £15,000 loan that I took out, I went and bought my first ever suit, a Ted Baker suit, pinstripe suit, looked like an investment banker. I bought a briefcase that had nothing in it. I bought a one of those umbrellas, suit umbrellas with the wooden handle, pocket, tie, shirt, and I was literally just busting into these estate agents, cold call up and down the high street. Hi, I'm Joseph Valente from Infragas. I could do service, maintenance, repair, you know, we're the newest company in town type thing. And I just went in there and I was pitching that out, which was awesome. And, you know, they kind of looked at me like, who the hell is this guy? Yeah, he's like young looking 22-year-old. He's in a suit pitching plumbing and heating services, cold calling as straight away as he's walking into the estate agent. And everybody said, oh, great, you know, intrigued, like, okay, well, give us your card or whatever it may be. And then I got turned down by all of them. And that I was expecting that they were just going to say yes. Yeah. You know, I just bought the van, I'd quit my job, and I was like, whoa, what do I do now? So I did a couple of jobs in between that week. And then on Friday, I said, right, you know what? I'm going to go back. I've got no choice. I'm going to go back. And that was like my first ever lesson of rejection and hard, cold sales and, you know, never giving up and resilience. And I went back round it. A lot of them said, "What are you doing back here? You was only here a couple of days ago." And I didn't have another suit, which was hilarious. I had to just like, what did I do? I think I borrowed one of my stepdad's ties, get the same shirt on, same suit and everything else, because I hadn't bought two suits or any other shirts. I had the same one. So I did that, went back around there, and I ended up signing 2 estate agents up with 600 homes each. I'm sorry, 600 homes combined. And then literally my business just exploded. Yeah. I mean, they said, right, okay, because on the second visit, they were like, okay, well, he's back. He's not going anywhere. He's committed. And actually, they were like, well, our guys let us down. Can you do these jobs? I was like, yeah, I'll do them straight away tomorrow. Yeah. We'll send them to your inbox. Next day, 30 jobs hit the inbox. I was a one-man in a van. I did 6 a.m. till 11 p.m. Next day, 30 jobs hit the inbox. It went like that. It just evolved. Within my first week, I had my first apprentice. Within my first month, I had my first plumber. First 3 months, I had my first office. And it just grew and grew and grew from there non-stop.
How did you come to apply for The Apprentice? And what was the audition process like?
Okay, so going back to the age of 22. So my mum got me Lord Sugar's auto. I've got to tell this part because it's critical to the later part. So my mum got me Lord Sugar's autobiography when I was 22 years of age. I just got back from living in Australia, okay, and I went back to my same job. I was a little bit depressed, a little bit demotivated. It was Christmas of 2011. Big book, what you see is what you get. Read it cover to cover for 3 weeks. And what I saw was a guy come from a poor background, was able to go on and build billionaire wealth in one lifetime. And I thought, you know, because I'd always believed that truly successful people must have come from a different world. You know, I didn't think that was accessible to me where I grew up. Nobody thought like that. Nobody talked about that type of stuff. So it kind of opened up my eyes that somebody with nothing has made it. So why can't I? So that's when I quit my job, took out a £15,000 loan and bought a van and went to work. So I'm a big believer in the law of attraction. Like I live my life by manifestation, affirmations, goal setting, repetition, vision, belief, and so on. And so I believed that I was going to go and work with him. Now, 2013, I was tweeting him, telling him I was going to go and work with him, going to go and meet him. And actually, when they picked me to win, the papers picked up the tweet. They went back through and said, hang on, you were going to meet him in 2013, were you? I was like, no. That was just me being a crazy universe, law of attraction setter, putting it out there. And it came true. So basically on January the 9th, 2015, fast forward 3 years, fast forward, I was 25. I'd built my business to $500,000 a year. I had 7 guys working for me. And I'd hit my ceiling as a businessman. I was a plumber that had started a plumbing business. I needed cash, I needed mentorship, and I needed exposure to keep growing. So what I did was I came in at 9 o'clock on January the 15th, it was, I believe. And it was a very cold and dark night. I can remember it so well. Walking into the kitchen, I was demotivated. My business was making money. I was doing really well for 25. I just wanted more. And then I got my phone out. I can still see it standing next to the fridge. Got my phone out. Lord Sugar's Facebook page came up. The final call for The Apprentice. 24 hours left. At that very moment, I knew the universe had sent a sign. They sent a sign to say, Joseph, this is your opportunity. Okay, so I put my details in. Then a few weeks later, an email came back. And I nearly missed it for some random reason. I was watching a film at like 1 a.m. and then on a Friday night. And I was like, you know what? I need to go back through my Mighty Joe inbox because I was using my inbox. I'd applied with Mighty Joe email and I just didn't look at that one. Went back through it and I saw it. An audition, and it was like 3 days away or something crazy. I was like, what? Yes! I remember ringing my mum at 1 a.m. like she was like, what was wrong? Applied for the show. It was a brutal audition process, brutal, very tough. Out of like 60,000 people apply. Then only 18 get on the show. There was loads of rounds. It took about 6 to 8 weeks, back and forth to London. Then they accepted me as one of the 18 and off I went on to the show.
And the rest is history, as they say. Joseph, how do you look back at your time on The Apprentice now? And what are the highlights and lowlights that stand out for you these years later?
So how do I look back on it? I just look back on it as probably it's just a defining moment, you know, a defining moment. And I look back on it very, very fondly. It was 5 years ago. I look back on it with gratitude, no regret, and, you know, just blessed that I was given the opportunity. And when the universe sent me the sign, that I was open enough to be able to see it, because I do believe that there is opportunity everywhere. And I do believe many people are blinkered in their day-to-day and they're just not aware of the opportunity. So I'm just glad that when it landed, I didn't just click off and go and grab something out the fridge, like my dinner or whatever it was, and then I took that chance. Yeah. And what was the rest of the question? What was the highlights and lowlights?
Yeah.
Lowlights. Don't know if I've said that one before. Is that the right thing?
Yeah.
Highlights and lowlights. So obviously the lowlights were winning, I think. I'm not winning, I was going to say highlights. The low part was there any lows? I found the process challenging. I don't think it was necessarily a low. We were away for 9 weeks. Yeah. I put my business on the line to go. You know, we were doing $500,000 a year. I was running the business. I was everything in the business. I was the sales, the operations, the manager, the customer service. I had loads of field-based resource, but I was a machine in the office. So I only had a part-time lady that was, you know, in her 50s. That was doing paperwork and stuff in the day. So I had no management or back office support. And I told her, and she said to me, because I could only tell 4 people when I was going on there. And she said to me, you know what, Joe? Because I said to her, look, if I go, Debbie, you know, this business could fold. Because I've got to go away for 9 weeks. And, you know, I'm not going to be able to contact the business. They say I can't ring back. So what am I going to do? And she was like, Joe, I'll step up for you. I'll take it on. I know you can do this. I know you win. And I went away for 9 weeks and I didn't speak to her for 2 months, you know, and I built that business night and day, 7 days a week for 3.5 years. Yeah. So I risked my business to go and with the slim chance that I was going to win. In my head, it was 100%. Yeah. So that was kind of a challenge. And then the highlight was meeting some of the people, made some great friends that I'm still in a group with now, you know, good relationships. And winning, of course, was a major highlight. Having that experience of being known by so many people, you know, it was like, when you say 15 minutes of fame, it was a 15 minutes of fame for a good period of time, but there was 9 million people watching it a week. So I became an instant star. You know, it was everywhere I went, selfies, VIP access, interviews, events, like London gigs, like it was just everything. So it was amazing, in all honesty.
Yeah.
So much female attention, you know. It was brilliant. I mean, it was incredible. So good. So that was a highlight for sure.
For anyone following you on social media, we'll see how much attention you still get even today, JV. And one of the things that always stands out for me is the amount of people that try and troll you.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? And does it actually get to you? Because, I mean, you come across as this ultra confident guy. But are there moments where these actually do penetrate the armor? And actually
great question. You know, and at the age of, when I was 25, when I went on the show, when you put yourself out there, people are going to hate. You know, I got absolutely rinsed on loads of stuff, you know, with the mustache that I had at the time, you know, the way that I spoke, the way that I did anything. You know what it's like, especially with Twitter. Obviously, I had loads of fans and loads of haters. So I kind of was used to it from very, very early on. You know, and now it dies down. Whenever you're not around, it calms down. But when you go big and you're doing stuff like this brand here, King of Construction, like when that hits the market, people are going to hate. The King of Construction, who does he think he is calling himself the King of Construction? I'm like, bring it on. Bring it on. So, you know, we run a lot of Facebook ads at the moment and sponsored Facebook ads. So when you run those, you get a lot of like keyboard warriors coming on. But in all honesty, I'm bulletproof now. Oh, yeah. You know, I've been to the top, I've been to the bottom, I've been to the top. I've taken shit from every single angle you could imagine. It's like water off a duck's back. Actually, I quite enjoy it now, weirdly. I'm just like, yeah, go on, what you got? I've heard that one before. And then I'll click on their profile pic and I'll be like, man, what a joke. You know what I mean? So kind of doesn't bother me. But for many people, it does. But, you know, if you're going to put yourself in that world, put yourself out there, you're going to get it. Even like, just like building your own brand on Insta or TikTok, these guys, they get absolutely battered by people, but they're not people, you know, wolves don't worry themselves over opinions of sheep, you know?
Yeah. So, yeah. Once the cameras are off, here you are in business with Lord Adding Sugar. Tell us about that, Joseph.
So, you know, after starting a business because of reading his book, and I was so passionate about it, so 3 years later, him buying half of my company for £250,000, it's just mind-blowing. You know, it's just like, how does that shit even happen? You know, how does that happen? That, you know, and so it was incredible and challenging and stressful and exciting. And, you know, he was like my idol. So I just wanted to, a young 25-year-old, you know, once again, he was my idol. So I just wanted to show him that I could do it, show him that I was the best, like be the best that I could be. And he's a tough guy. He's hard to be around. People think I'm hard at work. You know, I'm nothing compared to how he is. Like, he will take your life in a second. Yeah. And I was a confident guy. You go into a room with him, you're scared. Yeah. And you say one thing wrong, you move once wrong, you make the wrong noise. That's it. Boom. Like the first meeting I went into with him after all the stuff had gone and everything else, no cameras, the real boardroom. I remember him sat there, he was like this. He was like this. I walked in the room, right? And the board meeting was behind you. I walked in the room. Turned around like this. No eye contact. No hello. But I went to put my hand out. He ignored it. Joseph, sit down. That's all it was. And I was just like, whoa, shit. This is how it's going to be. But actually, I appreciate that level of no BS because I'm straight to the point. In business situations, you know, I like to talk, but I also don't like to talk pointlessly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the no waffle worked for me. Fine, okay, straight, here we go. This is what I've got to say to you. This is how we do it. Job done. So that was kind of how it went. And yeah, it was cool. It was cool, but it was challenging. I mean, after a couple of years, we'd, you know, grown the business and I'd taken the advice and I'd got the investment and, you know, we'd got the attention that we wanted, but they were not a field-based service business. They'd never have been, didn't know the world, didn't know the industry, didn't know how to operate it. They helped with our financial infrastructure to build systems and processes and all that type of stuff. But when we tried to scale, they didn't really have a lot of value. So it became me going to the boardrooms with them saying, okay, Joe, what we're going to do here? And I'm like, listen, man, I didn't come here to tell you what we're going to do. I came to get help. Like, I don't claim to have all the answers. And it was very difficult. Your boardroom politics at that level is something that I'd never experienced. There was, you know, obviously him, then his people want to try and score points in a board meeting to say that they've like done good work, and then it would like impact what I was doing. And, you know, I just don't stand for that stuff. Yeah. You know, I can't stand it. So I'd call them out and then they'd be roused and, you know, it was heated, shouting boardrooms, you know, which is crazy when I think back of it now. Yeah, just in the boardroom with Lord Sugar, was just all shouting. But then one day I said, listen, you know, this isn't where I want to be. I want to take it and scale it. And if you're worried about it failing, then let me do it. And if it screws up, then I'll take it on my shoulders and your name isn't involved in it. So let me buy you out, go from there. He said, look, okay, I respect you. Fine. We did a deal. We arranged and I exited.
Yeah. How much sort of contact do you get with him? Are you sort of in like a WhatsApp group with him and Karen and, you know, all the rest of the team sending each other updates on the phone?
Funny enough, I've still got him on WhatsApp, and on an occasion he'll WhatsApp me, mostly kicking off about something, but he'll still WhatsApp me. And so I usually speak to you. It's weird happening on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And then, you know, on WhatsApp, when like you see that somebody's put a WhatsApp story on,
yeah.
nobody really uses WhatsApp stories, right?
Yeah.
Like, Sugar does, the old guy says, like, no, that's not cool. That's not cool. So he uses it. You meet him once a month, and you can have him by phone and email. Obviously, I've still got his number and whatnot.
Yeah. One of the brilliant things that I think will be really helpful to a lot of people listening is 6 months into your business, you made a really brave decision to change things up, and it's a real gold in this. Tell us about that, JV.
Okay, cool. So I think, you know, and it's very relevant for this moment in time as well. When something isn't working, you got to pivot. We were working for, you know, property management companies doing call outs, like small ticket, high volume, reactive maintenance work. And as the business scaled, and, you know, after the Apprentice, we wanted new warehouse and new vans and all of that type of stuff to build the image. The client base didn't, the client base wasn't the right client base for the company that we wanted to be. It's like British Gas doing work for, you know, small estate agents. It just ain't going to happen, right? Because they ain't going to pay enough. So I had to change strategy because it wasn't working. So, you know, I had to pivot the business model quickly. And I did that by changing into installation. So one-off boiler installations nationally. There was a huge demand for it. There was 1 million boilers installed a year, big order value, £2,500 a job, not £50 a job. And I knew that I could get the leads and scale up, and it matched my ambition. So that is what I decided to do. And it was a big, big risk. But the way that we were doing it at the moment wasn't really working anyway, and we couldn't scale it. So I had to make that move and go all in. And, you know, we went all in. And, you know, I ended up scaling that to an 8-figure national company within a few years.
Yeah. Taking things forward, you ended up leaving Improgas, and that ended up folding. Have you learned more from your successes or more from your losses?
I'd say it's 50-50. I think, you know, one thing that is challenging in business is success and how to handle it. Because people don't know how to handle success, that's for damn sure, if they're not used to it. And also people don't know how to handle failure if they're not used to it. So it's kind of like, this is where a lot of people just stay safe because they know that there's no risk for the downside, and there's no super success that they're going to have to explode with. I've been all the way to the top. I've been straight down to the bottom. I've been back up again. So I think 50-50. To answer that with a quote is, success isn't guaranteed and failure isn't final. Yeah. There came a time where I felt like that whatever I touched turned to gold. From 22, starting a business, it just went so well. And then like winning the Apprentice. Then it went to, you know, writing a #1 bestseller. Fell from the classroom to Billionaire Boardroom. Then it went to having a #1 podcast in the world on iTunes. Then it went to IOD Director of the Year, Forbes 30 under 30 out of 18,000 candidates in Europe. You know, just awards after awards with Improgas, winning National Installer of the Year in 2019, beating British Gas. It was almost like, what, you know, I just do anything I want. Everything I touch, I conquer. So when my business hit hard times financially, you know, we were a huge organization, 100+ people, 8-figure turnover. It made in every major city in the UK. When the sales dried up because of market conditions, you know, it meant that the whole business was under a financial strain, and it wasn't going to sustain. So I had to chop it up. I had to sell parts of it, shut parts of it down. And it was a very difficult time. And, you know, the company that I sold it to took all the staff, the customer warranties. I made sure all of that happened, that they built a business that would trade with the debtors and the suppliers that had lost money from my shutting down part of the business. So I did my best to make it a good situation. And unfortunately, they ended up folding in like June time, I believe, because the pandemic wiped them out. So, you know, it was one of them ones. It didn't happen then. The pandemic might have took us down anyway. Yeah. You know, a lot of people sustained and survived. So I think, you know, January 2020, I found myself in a position where I was back to square one. You know, I was okay financially, but I'd gone all in with Emperor. I expected that company to make me a multi-millionaire. Spent 8 years of grafting that from a young boy to a 30-year-old. And it was a very bitter pill to swallow. You know, I'm not going to pretend it wasn't. It hit me very, very hard. I was worried about my name. I was worried about my reputation. I was fuming that I'd lost, you know, what I felt was going to make me a very rich man. I'd poured my heart and soul into it. Yeah, I was a bit embarrassed. It wasn't a very good time at all. So, you know, but in that lesson, I feel like, you know, back to where I am, because I can talk openly about it now. If you'd have had this podcast with me in like June time last year, I would probably still have been a bit tender. But now we're back in the game on a big, big scale. So I feel like I've proven a point to myself that I'm not a failure. That business just didn't work at that level. And that whatever happens, you can bounce back and, you know, you can overcome your demons. And I took a lot of shit from that situation. The press, a lot of abuse on social, a lot of other things behind the scenes, you know. And so actually it's made me strong. So strong. And you hear these opportunities stories all the time. Entrepreneurs build quickly, they bust it out, they build again, because they know the second time what to do right based on what they did wrong the first time, because you don't know what you don't know. And we scaled to the largest independent boiler installation company in the UK, from a sole trader to national in 7 years. It's unheard of in the construction game. It's so resource heavy. It's not like scaling an online business where it's all algorithms and, you know, to shopping carts and drop shipping. You know, it's a very people driven business. So we scaled so fast and so quickly. So I believe the lessons in the failure for me were I can do it again, I can rebuild, I can pivot. Success isn't guaranteed, failure isn't final. And, you know, actually you learn from the lessons and all the negativity that's happened, as much as, you know, and that those times you asked me earlier about taking shit online, you know, when I was down and out, early part of 2020, I was, you know, looking at my phone and going, oh God, what's going to be like now? And then to go online and push yourself again, push your brand, saying, listen, I'm now doing this. I'm doing a training business in construction. I'm, you know, training companies how to scale and sell. And then they're like, oh, you can't do that. Your last business did this, or not knowing still how successful we were. So that was challenging, to be that brave to then, you know, hit it again and go, I can do this. So I've kind of pushed through that. And I think it's crazy journey, you know.
And here we are now, knowing that there's a big difference between creating a business and creating a job for yourself. And you put yourself in this brilliant position now where you've been able to pull together all of this learning that you've just been speaking about, from the wins and the losses, and now coach and mentor tradespeople to be the best that they can be. Tell us about that.
Okay, cool. So, look, in January, I looked at, right, what am I going to do next? I didn't really want to build another construction company. I'd done that, been there, done it, got the T-shirt. I'm a very, very passionate person. I've got a lot of knowledge, skills, and understanding. I love sales. I love training. I love development. And I always wanted to be in the personal development world, right? The Cardones, the Vaynerchuks, the Tony Robbinses, like that always excited me, being in that world. And I thought, what was the biggest challenge that I faced as a construction business owner? Well, actually, it was that I was a plumber that had started a plumbing business. I wasn't a businessman. So, you know, I went to college for 3 years to train out to be a plumber and a gas engineer. And I started a business by taking out a loan and registered a company. I bought a van and went to work. That's what everyone does. Yeah. So why was nobody teaching me how, or why was there no information around of how to start, scale and grow, how to drive sales, drive leads, build infrastructure, manage cash flow, build teams, you know, recruit and so on. And I thought, there's got to be a huge opportunity here. And no one was training in the construction space. So I started hitting my socials, offering one-to-one coaching. Got 15 clients overnight, 15 grand a month coming in straight away. Then me and my PA were going to do events with our events team that we were starting to build. March came, boom, that was gone. Yeah. Lockdown hits. Then I took it online. built online training programs, started selling free webinars, pumping money into Facebook ads, and it's gone like this. You know, it has skyrocketed. We've now trained about 3,500 businesses. We've done over 7 figures in sales in 10 months. I've got 350 paying clients. We've got 14 new staff. I've moved to 2,000 square feet offices. This is kind of like my studio office room. You know, and you go look on our Trustpilot, out of 400 clients, you know, the satisfaction rate we have is like 98%, but we've got 30% positive review base just off those 400 clients. So you know what it's like to get positive reviews from customers. Yeah. You know, it's a challenge at its best. We've got 100 and something. So all saying of how it's helped them change their lives and everything else. So, you know, I think it's been absolutely incredible. We've made a real impact for people and businesses. And this is what I'm going with the king of construction. I've rebranded. We're going hard in the construction space. At the moment, I own the market and I plan to own it for a very, very long time. I don't think there's anybody like me in the space. And I own the failure now. I own the success. The fact that I failed on such a large level means any small business's micro failure, I dealt with that in my sleep. Yeah. I dealt with that before breakfast. Yeah. You know, so it was like, there is nothing that these guys can't ask me that I can't help them with. And that's what makes us extremely valuable. People go, oh, it's just about the success. No. A good coach and a mentor will stop you making the mistakes before you make them. That is the value. Forget about telling you how to drive leads and grow sales. That's super valuable. But to stop you from, you know, I spent millions on advertising in the last few years, millions of pounds. So I know what to do, what not to do, and so on. I've hired 400 people over the last 7 years. You know, I've changed markets. I've entered into new cities all across the UK. There isn't nothing I haven't seen happen. I've had legal battles. I've done this. I've done that. I've watched what happens when a company is crumbling, okay, and you're trying to grab at it, and there's, you know, what can you do about it? Like, it was like, I've watched what you need to do, who you need to bring in, how you need to bring in them, what your best exit is as the director and the owner, how to mitigate and reduce the damage and the risk and everything else as it's going down. You know, because limited companies are limited companies. Just because you are the CEO and a majority shareholder of a business, a limited company is a separate legal entity that trades with another limited company, which is a separate legal entity. So it's not personal as far as I'm concerned, right? Don't get me wrong. It's not nice when something bad happens, but that's the whole point of business. It is business. It's not personal. So whenever a company's in trouble, because let me tell you, I had a great mentor, right, that had a 50 million car sales business, and he had to put it into administration when he was young. He'd done so well, and he's doing incredibly well now. And I had him as my mentor, guy that was coaching me and so on. And through those times when that was going down, he was telling me what to do, how to protect myself, you know, what to do and so on, and what to expect, what was coming. And that was invaluable. Yeah, that was invaluable. So when things go wrong, having somebody that you can reach out to that's been through it helps so much, because it was an uncharted water, a very unknown experience. And, you know, thank God I had him as my advisor going through that. As you know, I wouldn't have known what to have done.
Just wrapping this up, JV, because I know how busy you are. There's going to be loads of tradespeople listening who have been dreaming of getting off of the tools for years, but not knowing how to do it. Who are your perfect customers in terms of getting in touch with you? What would your sort of call to action be if any of those people are listening right now?
So we say start up to 10 million, because we can teach everything up to that level at a different level. I can teach you how to put in a senior management team. I can show you how to, you know, start and register your company. So we go all the way from the bottom to the top. I'd say the majority of our clients are between the $250,000 and 2 million turnover bracket. And they are businesses that are looking to make that transition from tradesman to businessman. They may be a sole trader, or they may have a few guys working for them, but they've got no systems and processes. It's all very manual, very messy, maybe busy fools that aren't profitable because they're just churning. And, you know, what we do is help them gain the knowledge that they need to be able to scale. Our flagship product is the Trade Accelerator University that we've created, 24 hours of online learning, 12 modules from business strategy to finance, to sales, marketing, planning, recruitment, and more. So we really give the tools and the fundamental skills to be able to scale up and grow, because it's knowledge and education that everybody lacks. You know, and as I said to you earlier, most guys in the trade are tradespeople running trade businesses. Yeah. They had great knowledge at the job, hands-on, but they don't have any business knowledge.
Yeah. Brilliant. JV, thank you so much for your time. I've really enjoyed speaking to you. What is the best way for people to keep in touch with your journey?
So if you want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, probably the most active on Insta. Clubhouse is now a big one. So it's at Mr. Joseph Valente, Facebook. There's who's the majority audience to listen to this? Is it all business people or trade business?
Yeah, entrepreneurs and small business owners.
Okay, sweet. All right, cool. Well, we've got 2 Facebook groups. There's Business Breakthrough and there's the Trade MasterMind.
Okay, brilliant. Well, we'll put links to all of those in the description below, as well as a link to JV's podcast and book on Amazon as well. Joseph, thanks again for your time. Really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy. Take care.
Thank you.